Hello, I'm Deputy Chief Mark Perez, Los Angeles Police Department Personnel and Training Bureau. The reason I wanted to talk to you is to give you an impression of what it is that you're in for when you get into the Credible Leadership Learning System. If I were you, the first question I'd be asking is, what's in this for me? Why should I bother going through the time of going through this learning system? And I'd like to give you some reasons that I see that would compel anybody to do this if they were reasonable about what they were wanting to do in their career. The first thing is that when you're looking at where you're going to be going in your career, one of the things that you're going to be considering is whether you're going to promote. The interesting thing about the system that you're going to be engaging now is that it's based on research. Scientific research, empirical research, actually in the real world with real police departments. And one of the things that they discovered during this research was that people who have gone through this training in the university setting were far more successful in promotions than people who did not. If nothing else, that should get your attention. It got mine. It was one of the reasons why I wanted to be part of developing this with the people who did this. The next thing is, when you think about leadership and you think about all the training that you've got in the past, the books you've read, articles, maybe symposiums you've been to or seminars, the question you have to ask is, when you're done with that, do you have something more than just knowledge? Certainly it's really important to have knowledge about what leadership is. But what this particular course does, this learning system does that all the other ones don't do anywhere nearly as well, is instead of merely asking or answering the question, what is leadership? What we're doing here is we're showing you how to do leadership. Big difference. Learning the big concepts of leadership is one thing, very important thing, but it's different from learning how do you do it. So what we have in here are 60 different skills that researchers have found over the course of over 30 years of research are exactly the skills that, when you put them all together, are the skills that the very best leaders use. And what defines leadership? Well, one way of looking at it is, one example I heard was somebody said, well, if you think you're a leader and nobody's following you, then you're just taking a walk. And ultimately what we're doing here is we're trying to show you how, through these 60 different skills, do you do what it is that it takes to be a leader. And not just a leader who gets things done, although you will certainly be able to get things done, but a leader who's credible, who people look at and say, I believe in that person. And they do more than just follow your orders. They actually follow you. And that's a big difference. And once you go from learning the concepts and these broad ideas to narrowing it down, to understanding exactly what it is that you have to do in these 60 different modules, you'll learn how to become a leader that people will want to follow. You'll become more effective. Some of the research has shown that when people learn these skills, not only do they do better in promotions, they're more effective in things like crime fighting. They're more effective in things like working with other people, with helping to cultivate the people around them, dealing with people who have problems, or dealing with problem people, which you're going to have if you're going to be a leader. It also helps you to become different yourself. Part of what you're going to be learning in this series is learning things like self-mastery, a topic that we don't talk about much in police work, but we should. Partly because we have to have self-mastery if we're going to be able to work on the other kinds of skills that you really need to have to be a leader. If you can't master yourself, how in the world should anybody expect you to be able to master others? At least master others in leading them and persuading them and giving them an inspiring vision of where they need to go. So one of the things that I would look at when I'm looking, especially in the first modules, where it talks about things like centering and grounding and knowing who you are, realize that although this is different, this is a bit unusual for some forms of police work, this has been used in things like the military, where they use it with elite forces to teach them how to start out mastering themselves before they engage in some very difficult combat. It's been used in universities, it's being used in Fortune 500 companies, and now we're bringing this into police work, online, in a way that really will benefit you and everybody else who can use it, which is another one of the advantages I see to this, and one of the reasons that I think you need to continue. I would encourage you to continue because one of the great things about this is that for each one of the modules, you don't just finish it and then move on to the next. You have the opportunity to actually go out into the real world, practice it, and then if it doesn't quite feel right, you get to go back to the module. You can come back to this over and over and over, and probably you will for the rest of your career if you use it the right way. Very few people have all 60 skills. Matter of fact, I don't know anybody who has mastered all of them. The great thing is that because it's here to develop you as a person, and for the rest of your career, you get to keep coming back over and over again until you've mastered exactly what it is that you think you need to have. One of the other things that you should keep considering is that once you get good at this, other people are going to notice. Other people are going to want to be around you. And even if you don't want to promote, assignments that you're interested in are going to start coming to you. Why? Because people will see that you're effective and that you're caring about people and caring about other things that you might not have without this training. It's extremely important. I've been in police work for 36 years. I'm a deputy chief. I've seen a lot of things. What drove me to being part of this was seeing exactly the fact that because it's been research-based, because we've seen evidence already that it works in the real world, I absolutely had to have it in my own department. I wanted to make sure that I could share this with others, and the project team that put this together did a fantastic job. Now you're going to be seeing one person quite a bit throughout these videos. That's Dr. Terry Anderson, one of the brilliant researchers that helped put the book together on which most of this is based. But he's not the only one you're going to see. Some of the other people that you're going to be seeing in videos are people who are famous in the military, famous in private sector, people who are leaders who have something important to say, so that we in police work get to adopt principles and ideas and skills that other people are using that we just haven't used yet. This is part of the mind-opening part that we need to look at. The future of policing is going to be about people who are thinkers, people who are doers, and not just looking at concepts, but learning skills. That's what we're doing here. That's what I'm engaging you to do. Looking forward to seeing you improve, the organization improve, and ultimately policing in society, because that's what this is all about. So welcome to the Credible Leadership Learning System. Thank you very much.